What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video here on this football Sunday, the first football Sunday of the NFL season. I'm pretty pumped up about it. The Jets don't play today, so I will be sitting on my couch very soon and just watching Red Zone for 7 hours. It's going to be the best day of my life, just about, but I am very nervously, anxiously, and excited waiting for this game against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football, but wanted to come on today before the games and just talk about something that I think the Jets should address, not necessarily saying they have to do it like immediately and it's the most pressing need in the entire world, but I do look at this as a potential weak spot, especially after the latest injury. So what I'm talking about is the Jets putting Wes Schweitzer on IR. So he's going to miss the next few weeks of the season, and he was set to play a really big role on this Jets team as their primary interior offensive line backup. He is the backup at center and the top backup at guard. So really, essentially, he's the backup in three different spots: left guard, right guard, and center. And this was originally a concern for me before the injury because he doesn't really play a whole lot of center, at least hasn't in his NFL career. Only 440 of his career 4,571 snaps, which is 9% of his career NFL snaps, have come at the center position. A far majority of them are between left and right guard. And Schweitzer, I think, is fine as, depth, as a depth option on the interior offensive line. But something that concerns me is him having to come in and play center. And one, with him down, that now makes Xavier Newman the top interior backup. Newman, I thought, looked pretty solid in the preseason, and I absolutely think he is, a rosterable NFL player, and I'm okay with him in a backup role. But I'm surprised that the Jets haven't gone out and really made a veteran addition on the offensive line, on the interior. The Jets did a really good job after last year when they were just absolutely ravished with injuries on the offensive line, specifically at tackle, right? Like you lose Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton, and he had to go back and forth, and Elijah Vera Tucker. Like, there were a lot of injuries on the line. So what the Jets did was they traded for Morgan Moses, they signed Tyron Smith, and then they draft Olu Fashanu, who is, first round pick, is your top tackle backup after those two veterans, which chances are, unfortunately for those guys, the likelihood of them playing a full season pretty slim. So I would guess we see the Jets rookie Olu Fashanu probably somewhere around 8 games plus or minus between the two spots. But on the interior offensive line, you have at right guard, you have Elijah Vera Tucker at right guard. We all know about his injury concern. Now, granted, his two injuries were completely unrelated and freak injuries. One was a tricep and the other was Achilles, which could happen anywhere if he's playing guard, tackle, whatever. Two different freak injuries, but he has missed significant time in 2 of his NFL seasons so far. As for Joe Tippmann, well, he had a quad injury and missed 2 games last year. He also got banged up during training camp this year and missed a couple days of practice. So they very well could have to go to a backup on the interior offensive line. And that first guy up, with Schweitzer on IR too, being Xavier Newman, scares me a little bit. Again, I'm not saying that Newman can't be on an NFL roster and maybe in a pinch can come in and play a game or two, but I'm just a little bit concerned about the depth at that spot. Listen, I know a lot of people don't really like Connor McGovern, but he signed to the vet minimum deal last year, and he started a bunch of games for the Jets in this system. I put out a tweet asking, how bad has Connor McGovern hurt from a year ago that he hasn't signed somewhere. And again, I'm not asking the Jets to sign him and plug him in at center at this point. I don't think that's what I want, to do. I don't think he's a starting caliber player anymore. But at least I'd feel and maybe it's just a bias for me, but I'd feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that you have someone who has started games, like significant games in the NFL, who could come in and play either center or guard, especially with Schweitzer out. Like even with Schweitzer, I was a little bit worried because of the center depth. And Schweitzer hasn't played, just 9% of his career snaps have been at that position. But with him on the shelf, I'm a little bit worried about if there's an injury to the interior offensive line. And I completely understand that this is nitpicky. Like, I see it already. Like, it could be like, really, like, this is what we're concerned about. But the fact of the matter is the Jets do have a really good roster. They have a lot of cap space right now. Obviously trying to save some for Hassan Reddick. That's the goal. But I don't think a backup interior offensive lineman at this point is going to cost you a whole lot, maybe $1 million, somewhere around that. Again, I believe the vet minimum is like 125. I'm pretty sure that's what McGovern signed for last year. But again, moral of the story is if there is an injury on the interior, that would be something that I'd be slightly concerned about. And this is a go for it year. This next 2-year window, I'm assuming with Aaron Rodgers, is a time to push your chips to the table. So I'm just raising this as a potential discussion point. If you feel comfortable with the Jets' interior offensive line, let me know in the comments. Tell me why that is. If not, what would you do? Would you bring back Connor McGovern? Is there someone else on the market that you think would maybe be a better option for the New York Jets at the interior spot? Want to, again, reiterate that I'm not advocating for signing McGovern and be like, yeah, he's starting over Joe Tippmann, but he didn't have a great year last year. I still would like someone in here who's started and, I don't know, is a veteran who could come in and you feel okay about playing. So let me know what you guys think on this in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll let you go now and talk to you next time.